Hello, how are you guys? Welcome to my channel. My name's Lisa, also known as Fiber Nymph. Today is Wednesday, February 5th, and I found myself unexpectedly with a large block of a home alone time today, so I thought this is a really good opportunity to sit down and do my first February video for the month. I even put together legit show notes, so hopefully there will be some order to all of this. If you're new here, thank you so much for checking out my channel. If you are a return viewer, as always, welcome back. And if you are a supporter of my channel through my YouTube membership, thank you so much. I appreciate that more than you'll ever know. If you're interested in finding out about my membership, there should be a little join button below the video on YouTube. You can click that and see what the perks are. Basically, you get at least one extra video per month that is just for members only. I would really like to start being able to do a little bit more than just that one video. That is on my list of goals for the year, but you'll definitely get one extra video every month. So let's get started. As always, I will have show notes below in the description box. Just click more below the video. I also post them on my website's blog, which is fibernymphdyworks.com, as well as in the Fiber Nymph Dye Works Ravelry group. So hopefully one or the other of those are accessible to you. If you have any questions at all about where you can find me online, all of that is linked below as well. So, let's see, more specific announcements of a timely nature. First of all, thank you to everybody who signed up for my new club, the Warm Hug Yarn and Fiber Club. Those signups are over and your first shipment should be going out at the end, will be going out, not should be. It will be going out at the end of February, so you can have that to look forward to coming up. I did dye the remainder of my Linnaeus yak base and my silky Suri Floof base. I think I mentioned that I was going to be doing that last time. I did do that. It is all up in the shop now. So if you like those bases, there is some self-striping on the Linnaeus base. There's also half skein semi-solids, and the Suri Floof is all semi-solids, so you can check those out. Oh, and there's also some Color Palooza sets of mini sets on Linnaeus. So those are all up. Again, I am not going to be carrying those bases anymore, so those are mostly a retirement kind of thing. Just dyed up the rest of it, and hopefully you'll find something there that you like if you enjoy those bases. Oh, and I've got some really cute point protectors that are going to be going in the shop soon, hopefully this week, by Comma Craft Co. Absolutely adorable. I have one set that I'm using on one of my projects, so you'll see those in a little bit. Anyway, what am I wearing? I am wearing my Seamark pullover. I knit this several years ago now because it's knit out of my Ridgetop DK weight base, which is a base I don't carry anymore. But it's a very, very boxy version of this sweater. The Seamark is a Brooklyn tweed pattern, I believe, and the designer was Rachel Brockman. So anyway, this is the lime colorway. So yeah, I think that's everything for the intro. Let's get into the crafting because I do have some fun things to show you today. Let's see. Oh, plant mats. Okay, so you can kind of see this one. Oh, here, look. Check out this little guy. This isn't a plant mat, but isn't he adorable? I don't usually buy things like this, but I was at the grocery store a couple weeks ago, and he was sitting on a shelf somewhere that he didn't belong. Like, he was not with the floral stuff. He wasn't with anything related to him. Somebody clearly had picked him up, decided they didn't want him, and just sat him on a shelf. And I felt really bad for him because I'm one of those people who, number one, I feel like inanimate objects have feelings. And number two, I wasn't sure if when whoever's in charge of like reshelving things that are in the wrong places, do they really reshelve them or do they just throw them away? And I didn't want him to get thrown out. So I bought him. He was only like $6 or something, but isn't he cute? And his little flowers are opening now. So that's my little Valentine's-y treat to myself this year, I guess. But anyway, you can see I did put out the one plant mat here on the sewing machine, and I will put in pictures as well because I have the picture of this one that you can see it in full, and I did put the other one on on the other table that's way over on the other side of the fireplace. That one is fine over there. I like how that turned out and it's great. This one, I'm not 100% sure I like the fact that I did it long enough to go over this high part in the center. It's okay, it's fine, it's definitely serving its purpose, but I am really tempted to maybe make another one that will only cover this higher sewing machine lid part. Babette, don't push that. She's rubbing up against the tripod. So hopefully she won't send you flying. But anyway, yeah, I'm not gonna do it right now, but I'm considering maybe doing another one, and then I'll just use this one somewhere else in the house. So anyway, we'll see. But I did get them blocked. They are out on the tables being used now, so yay for that. Okay, so projects that I've worked on since I last saw you. I did, in my effort to revisit some of my older patterns, I did do a couple of Outdoorsies. So Outdoorsy is a pattern that is multi-use, okay? So it is an ear warmer. So you can fold this in half and wear it this way as an ear warmer. I know I should put it on, but I'm gonna mess up my hair. Not that there's much to mess up. It's kind of weird today anyway. Or you can wear it the other way because you do it with 2 different yarns. I mean, you can do it all in one yarn and then you wouldn't have the 2 different colors. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna just show you. I'll do it the right way. Hang on. All right, so ear warmer. I'm not gonna flip it around. You've seen what it looks like on the other side. So it's nice and wide, covers your ears. You can also wear it fully open and have it cover more of your head. So it's more of like a headband kind of thing. Or you can wear it as a cowl, either direction, or you could have it folded in half and just have it be a very narrow cowl to catch breezes. So anyway, lots of functions in the Outdoorsy. This is, now my hair is full of static, just so you know. It's okay. This is the fingering weight version. The colorways, those are both my bounce base. This was some leftover A Game for All Seasons, which was my 2024 Pigskin Party colorway that you can still get for through Monday. It's in the shop until Monday when the Pigskin Party ends. And then this was just a gray, a random gray that I had in stash. So it was nice. I didn't have any problems with this one. I did this on US 1.5s and I did it pretty much exactly the way I have my pattern written, so that worked fine. Then I decided to do a DK, basically a DK weight version. This is 2 fingerings held together, so that's about a DK. Now, the pattern is written for fingering weight or worsted weight, and I knew this was going to be a little too light to follow the worsted weight, so I did cast on extra stitches. I think the worsted weight is worked over maybe 60 stitches. I did this over 72. It is small, like it takes everything I have to be able to put it over my head this way, so I'm not going to try. It'll be fine for, you know, a younger person. These are both charity donations for me. Anyway, so I really like how I did it. I like how the colors worked out. The colorways that I used were leftovers also. The one was a variegated called Beach Glass. I did many years ago. I don't really do variegateds too often anymore, but I had dyed that. And then I had dyed some lime in a semi-solid and turquoise blue in a semi-solid. And I don't even have this turquoise blue anymore. I don't have that dye anymore. But anyway, I've had those in my stash forever. I think I originally tried knitting myself a sweater out of those yarns. Those got ripped. I tried knitting a shawl or a scarf for my sister-in-law out of it. That got ripped. This yarn has wanted to be so many things that have not worked out, and so I was really happy to use it in this project, because obviously I held the beach glass the whole way through, and then I held it with the blue on one half, the green on the other half, and where in the center where you do this pearl ridge row, I held the green and the blue together without the beach glass. So not that you can really tell, but it worked out nice. I like it. It is just a little bit small for me as an adult head. What size needle did I use for that one? A 6. I think for the worsted weight, I have you doing it on maybe an 8. I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, those are 2 charity donations to add to that pile. And it was fun to revisit my Outdoorsy. I do put kits for Outdoorsies in the shop every once in a while, but it's also a really good pattern to use up leftovers. So, and it's a fun pattern to use with a self-striping for half of it. So, anyway, so those are done. And take another sip of my coffee. I'm also just realizing I did not eat anything yet today. I'm a little hungry. Okay, so next up I did another hat. January was definitely a hat knitting month. Charity hat knitting. And here's another one. Again, it's just a plain vanilla kind of hat. And I really like how this one turned out. I again used leftovers. This is my Mountain Tweed Merino DK. And I used plain vanilla and warm honey and ember, and obviously I did 2x2 ribbing just in the plain vanilla, and then I started alternating the warm honey and the ember with 1 round each. So 1 round of warm honey, 1 round of plain vanilla, 1 round of ember, 1 round of plain vanilla, and I did that the whole way up. And then I did my decreases. I forget how many stitches I did this over. I want to say maybe 88. I don't know. It's probably in my project notes, which will be linked. Anyway, it's a little bit of a small hat. Here, I've already messed up my hair, so let's try it again. So it's a pretty tight fitting beanie on me. I probably could have knit another inch and a half of length and have it fit a little bit better for how I like my hats to fit. But again, it's not for me. It is a charity donation hat, and so whoever gets it will be hopefully someone that has a smaller head. Oh, you know what? I'm just realizing the warm honey was actually my confetti tweed merino. So you can see the little colorful neps in there every once in a while. That's in the warm honey colorway. The other ones were the mountain tweed that just have the neutral colored neps in them. So anyway, but it was a fun combination. I really liked it. I kind of wish it was big enough for me. I'd just keep it. But I don't need any more hats really. So those are my first finished objects. I do have another finished object. I feel like I'm flying through this stuff. This is finished. It does not have its ends woven in and it hasn't been blocked yet, but it's finished. In fact, I finished the knitting and then promptly forgot that I had even worked on it and finished it. And then a few days later, I'm like, I finished something. It's like, oh yeah, I finished that. So this is a wrap that I started back in November of 2022. I had started it thinking I was going to knit my Ryoko pattern, which looks similar to this, but it's not quite like this. But that's how I started it. And as I started into it, then I'm like, oh, well, maybe I'll modify it and I'll kind of change up the pattern and publish it as a different pattern. And then I got partway into it and then I set it aside and didn't work on it again until last month. This color, by the way, is just a one-of-a-kind purplish red that I had dyed because I had accidentally mixed dyes the wrong way. So this was all there was of that. But my Ryoko actually starts similar to this. You work halfway through your yarn and then you decrease. So you're increasing, decreasing. It's an end-to-end pattern. This one I didn't do that. I just kept going and going and going with this lace, this eyelet lace and these garter ridges. And then I'm like, okay, somewhere along the line, I'm gonna have to finish this in some way. I didn't have an end, like an exit strategy in mind. So I just started doing this, which was all these rows of eyelets and garter ridges. And I started decreasing on every single right side row. So it decreased really, really fast. And this is all it is. It is the weirdest shape in the world. So here we have like this nice edge that it gets from the regular shaping, and then it's just, boom. And you've got this weird little, I feel bad calling it weird. I keep referring to it as weird. I feel like I'm gonna make it feel bad. Again, inanimate objects have feelings in my world. It's just, it's not anything that I envisioned, but I also realized when you let something sit for this many years and you don't leave notes for what you were doing, like all bets are off, right? So obviously this is not something I'm gonna write up because it is just a little wonky. I just don't even know how to wear it because it's such a strange shape. Now it hasn't been blocked, so it will probably gain some length in the blocking. But the best thing I've been able to come up with as far as how to wear it is to actually turn it over this way with this big point here and flop it over. And then kind of wrap it and have that end here and tuck this end here and then have that little point kind of come down. It definitely needs some extra length though. It's just, I don't know. And then of course these ends need to be woven in. So I don't know, this kind of works. It's not optimal, but it kind of works. But as far as wrapping it the way my original not Outdoorsy, my original Ryoko wrap it, you can't really, it's just not, it just doesn't have the length necessary to do that. It's, yeah. And I don't even think it would work super well just to like be an over the shoulders kind of thing. I mean, maybe it would. I mean, I guess you could put like a shawl pin in here or something. I don't know. I'm gonna block it, see how much growth I can get out of it, and then we'll see. I'm not gonna give it to my mom though, because it's just too bizarre, and she doesn't need anything that would be super close to her neck anyway. That was my one thought of giving it to her. It may just also become a donation item once it's done, well, blocked. I don't know. It was fun to work on. I enjoyed working on it. I do enjoy this yarn combination. So this is a combination of my Sunshine light fingering weight held double with my Floof Kid Silken mohair base. So it's very soft, very halo-y, and it's a joy to work with. But yeah, the end product on this one just didn't quite turn out the way I was hoping that it would. So whatever, you can't win them all. Okay. So that is a finished object. And I think that is the only other finished object I have. Oh, the other thing is I did use almost all of the yarn. There were 2 grams left of the Floof and I think 12 grams left of the fingering weight. So, you know, I used most of what I had. That was a positive, I suppose. Alrighty. What else have I been working on? I didn't finish anything else, but I did start working on my coffee bean cardigan again. And I've made quite a bit of progress on it since I left it. Oh, look. This is one of the sets of Craft Co. needle point protectors. I love this little calico cat with his bloody knife. What? Totally reminds me of Tippy. She just killed a bird the other day. Like, she went out in the snow and got a victim. Anyway, okay, so when I last showed this to you, I'm pretty sure you just saw the bottom part. This is a bottom-up sweater. I'm using the Corin cardigan pattern as my guide for this, which is by Crocheted Designs. And I was following the example of Sarah from the It Is a Sarah podcast, who did this sweater also, but she also substituted this coffee bean pattern in place of the just regular eyelet pattern that's in the pattern. And I decided to do that too. I've really enjoyed doing it. I think that patterning is so pretty. But anyway, when I last talked to you about it, I thought I had like another inch or two to go on body length before splitting for the fronts and the back. And I did end up adding a couple of inches. And so then I did split. Now, I worked both fronts. Let's see. Yeah, so it goes this way, I guess. I have finished both fronts. I'm on the back now, and I'm probably a little over halfway up the back. Now, I ended up running into problems because number one, the pattern is written for a heavier weight yarn than what I'm using. I am using Plymouth Tweed, which is a worsted weight. I think the pattern maybe calls for an Aran weight. I can't remember now. But this is my yarn that I am using, Plymouth Tweed. This is a sweater quantity that's been in my stash for years and years and years and years and years. And I'm finally using it, and I'm very happy about that. Anyway, if I can, I'll try to remember to put a picture of what the actual sweater is supposed to look like. It's a bottom-up drop shoulder design. But since I'm using this lighter weight yarn on a smaller needle, I had to go up in size. So I'm doing the largest size written just to get the size that I need, because I was getting so many more stitches per inch than what the actual pattern called for. So that's what I was doing, but I realized as I was working this front that in order to get the armhole depth that I need and not too deep of an armhole, I needed to go with the measurements for one of the smaller sizes. And then I realized that even if I did that, it was going to be so, it was going to be so long. Like this was going to be much longer than I needed it to be. Now I'm going to just sort of tuck this. Okay, so this is where you divided for the arms. Okay, so this is up here. Now you can see like how I'm holding this, which probably isn't realistic because this will be pulling down because of gravity and everything. But like that's up at my shoulder now. However, the pattern does not call for shoulder shaping. The pattern's written for either a V-neck or a crew neck. And I think the crew neck, like the rounded neck, was the original version. And I think if I remember what Sarah said correctly, she added the V-neck option after the fact. And so the rounded neck does have shaping up at the top, but only for the neck part. The shoulder part just goes straight over. So like I'm doing the V-neck version, which you can kind of see there is a V there. It's a very gentle V. But to get the length that it called for, based on my modifications, it was going to just be like you'd be up here, and I got down to the right number of stitches, but it was just going to be out to here. And like there was going to be a lot of fabric dropping, and I didn't like that so much. I wanted shoulder shaping. So I did my own decreasing. I bound off 5 stitches, and then the next right side row 5 more, the next right side row 8, and then 8, and then the rest of them. So I have that shoulder step that you like, that you get whenever you do actual shoulder shaping. It will still be a drop shoulder, but there won't be as much extra bulk up here on top of the shoulder, is my thought. So I did that, and then I did it on the other side as well. And once I get the back up to that same level where I started doing that, I will also mimic that same shaping in the back. I do think the back maybe has some back shaping like around the neck. I don't remember now. But I'll deal with that when I come to it and, do what I have to do. This has just turned into one of those projects that I am clearly making my own modifications on the fly. I think it's going to turn out okay. I'm really happy with it. Now the bottom, I also substituted a garter stitch bottom band from the ribbing because I didn't want it to pull in. And as you can see, it is quite, the bottom is quite wibbly wobbly compared to this, but this is ribbed fabric that's pulling in. But based on my swatch, which I did do a legit swatch for this, you might remember. Where's my swatch? The fabric blocks out really nicely. Like it's, you know, it's a nice, soft, flowy fabric. So this coffee bean pattern that is basically a rib, it's not pulling in too much anymore. And like my garter stitch edges on my swatch, which was what I was basing this decision on to do that kind of band, they are not, you know, all wibbly wobbly. So I think it'll be okay once it's blocked. That's what I'm basically trying to say. So anyway, I would love to get this sweater finished by Monday because that would be the end of the pigskin party. And since I cast this on during the pigskin party, I could get lots of points. However, I don't know that that's going to happen. That might be a little bit aggressive of a plan. So it'll get finished eventually. I definitely want to be able to wear it this winter, and I'm mostly working on it right now. I've purposely not cast on any more hats or small things so that I can spend most of my focus on this and one other project that I have on the needles that I'm going to show you in a minute. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I need to tell you. I'm working on US 7 needles for that sweater. And yeah, I think that's everything that you need to know about it. It's coming along. I've made really good progress since I picked it back up. It's amazing how much progress you can make on projects when you actually pick them up and work on them, you know? Who knew? Okay, so one more project to show you, and it's in this Bags by Awesome Granny bag, which I just love. It's got all the crazy animals on it. Like that squirrel looks a little deranged, but he's okay. Anyway, yeah. This is a really fun project. I had a friend who sent me some beautiful yarn a few months back, and she also has some of that same yarn, and we decided we were going to do a cast on together. Originally we were going to do it like as a New Year's cast on together, but then we both had stuff going on and that didn't happen. So we decided instead to do it for the beginning of February, which February 1st is St. Bridget's Day or in bulk. And so we decided to do it for that kind of a cast on for that season, which we did do I think 2 days beforehand. But anyway, I'm going to show you the yarn in a minute, but first let me show you the pattern I chose to do. If I can find, did I print out the picture? Oh, here it is. Did I? Oh, here it is. Okay. Sorry. Got all kinds of pages. The pattern is called Richland, and it is a lace shawl pattern by D. O'Keefe. And here is a picture of what the shawl looks like. So it is a triangular shawl. Triangular shawl with this really pretty lace panel here. And then it works out into, there's some patterning that goes on over in this part too, but it's a big triangular shawl. I am not doing the whole thing. Number one, I don't have enough yarn to do the whole thing, but I do have enough yarn that I am just doing this lace panel. And I want to see, is there, nope, that's a chart. Can't show you that. Let's see if there's another, okay, here it is. Here's sort of the little schematic, basically. So this is what the whole shawl would look like. I am just doing this, I'm sorry, covering my mouth. I'm just doing this piece, this lace panel piece. But I'm gonna do, I have 2 skeins of the yarn, so I am gonna work 2 of these out as far as I can make them go with the yarn, and then I'm gonna graft them together. So I will basically have a wrap that will be a point, and then work out, and then this way, and then the other point will end up on this side. So it'll be a parallelogram. That is my plan. Because apparently I cannot do anything without making some crazy modifications to it. Anyway, I'm really enjoying this. I did find that in the chart, her symbols are not all traditional that I'm used to, like in what, like a dot on the right side means this and on the other side it means that, but it's not the same as what I'm used to. And so when I first started it, I realized I was doing it wrong, and I did end up ripping it out and starting over. But here we go. Let me show you what I have so far. So this is the yarn. Isn't it? Oh my gosh. Let's see. I don't want to rip that out. Okay. Isn't it pretty? Oh, it's so gorgeous. It is, oh, this is one of the little tags that was on it. I do not remember the name of the farm that she got this from. It is in Michigan. But it is a 3-ply sport, about 200 yards in each ball, and it tells you the name of the sheep. Indy was the name of the sheep. She was an older female alpaca, one of the oldest in that particular herd. So anyway, but I have 2 balls of this, and I'm using US 3 needles, and here's what I oh, that's an extra needle. At the US 4, I didn't end up using that. It just was still in the bag. So this was the first one that I did. And so this is worked up through the 3rd chart. The first 2 charts you only work once, and then the 3rd chart you work twice because it's getting wider as you go. So hopefully you can see all that pretty patterning. Now, this being an alpaca, it does have a halo. So you can kind of look at all that fuzz. So it does obscure the lace patterning just a wee bit, but I think once it's done and when it's blocked, it will open up and be really pretty. You'll be able to see it much better. But I just love that pattern in there. It's so pretty. So this is the first half. And so I stopped after I did the second repeat of the 3rd chart. And I'm now on the second half with the second ball. Again, I'm working them concurrently, and this is at the end of the first repeat of chart 3. So I have to do the second repeat of chart 3. So anyway, it's coming along. And again, both of these, like this project I have to work on when I'm not doing anything else. Like, it's not a good project to work on while I'm watching TV or a movie or, you know, YouTube or whatever. I can't really multitask that way. So I have to just sit and work on this since there's a chart involved. Although I will say the chart is pretty intuitive after you get into it. So that's nice. But still, I can't really do it while I'm doing other things. The sweater, I can. So that I'm working on more often. But anyway, we don't have a planned end date for this little knit along that we're doing with each other. And my friend is not doing the same pattern. She's doing something completely different. We just decided to knit the yarn together. So it's a lot of fun to do things like that occasionally. Anyway, so that is my modified Richland shawl wrap. I'm going to pick up these needles before one of the cats decides to eat them. Hold on. All right, so that is all of my yarny projects. The only other thing I've been doing is sort of a paper crafting project, which I didn't know if I was going to show you or not, but since it kind of feeds into my choose your own adventure make-along goals that I had for myself that we're going to talk about in a minute, I figured I would talk to you about it. So this is my planner, my 2025 planner. It is from Commit 30. I really like their planners. I've purchased one, I think, every year since 2020. There might be 1 year in there I didn't get one. I don't always use them a lot, but I really like their layout. And I like that they have this little closure thing. You can get these little tabs, you know, buy those separately. They don't cost that much. But anyway, this year what I decided to do with my planner, though, is I want to make it more of a journal slash planner. So I'm not using it as much for like putting dates in, but more like keeping track of goals and planning in a more general sense. Like, this was sort of my focus page, and I'm using my scrapbooking stuff. That was the other thing, the paper crafting element to this. So I'm using up a lot of scrapbook supplies that I've had for decades, and I don't use that often because I don't really scrapbook anymore or make cards, but I would like to be able to use up the paper for things. So that's what is in here a lot. And right now I have a lot of like, I like to journal based on like using oracle cards or tarot cards just for perspective's sake. That's what I use those for more than anything. But I like, sometimes I make copies of the cards and put them in here as well. So that's what this is. And then I'm just hand journaling. I'm not like printing stuff out. Back when I was really into scrapbooking, like I went out of my way to like print out my journaling for pages and do it all decorative and on pretty paper. I'm just writing stuff. So I have things for the beginning of every month. January isn't super filled in here, but it, you know, it will. But then also in the weeks, I'm doing some stuff. I'm just writing on like regular lined paper and tearing it out and taping it in with a little piece of cardstock to make it look pretty. So I know this isn't much and it's probably not super exciting to you because I'm going really fast, but I also don't want to really share my journaling with you. No offense. But I'm having fun using the paper and it's giving me a way to do that I haven't done in a long time. The nice thing about these Commit 30 journals too is they also have like these motivational quotes in them. And in some cases I'm kind of incorporating that in like for April because I've got some quarterly goals as well as monthly things. So like take the next step, that fits really nicely for April. So anyway, that is where I'm at with that. And I'm just sort of doing it as I go along. I'm not doing the whole thing at once. I'm only through March for like my monthly stuff, but that's been fun to work on that and get back into some just really simple basic paper crafting, basically cutting things out, putting sticky stuff on the back and slapping it in there. So anyway, I may share more about that with you as the year goes on, just depending on if I do anything exciting with it or not. But again, it's a fun change of pace from most of the crafting that I do. So let's shift into talking about the Choose Your Own Adventure Make Along, since that was one of my things on there. I had made my list of goals. I'm kind of doing my goals for this. This, by the way, the Choose Your Own Adventure Make Along is my make along that I'm hosting through my, well, the Ravelry group, but you can also participate just on Instagram if you want. You can find all of the information either in the Ravelry group or on the blog in the Fiber Nymph Dye Works website. That's all going to be linked below. So if you're interested, please check that out. It's a very loose kind of make it your own, again, choose your own adventure. There's not really a lot of guidelines for taking part unless you're taking part in the Fiber Nymph Dye Works yarn and fiber component of that make along, which is not required. But if you are, it gives you a chance to win some extra stuff throughout the year. I'm only doing drawings this year on a quarterly basis, so like January, February, March, I'll do that drawing at the beginning of April. Anyway, for my part, my adventure is making goals sort of on a monthly basis that will help fit my overarching goals for the year, and I'm revisiting them at the end of every month. So I'm not going to go into great detail, but I did think I would tell you a little bit of how my January went. I will say my January was pretty calm. It was calm, and I feel like it went really at a nice pace. Personally, in this way, in other ways, January felt like it was 500 years long, but we won't go there. One of my goals, worked with hand spun. I did that. Like my hand spun yarn. I really want to use my hand spun stash this year. Worked with hand spun. I worked with stash in general. I consider like when you work on whips, like that's part of your stash until they're finished. So I did do that. Worked with hand spun stash. I made more than one charity item. My goal this year is to make at least one charity item per month. I did all those hats and those outdoorsies. So charity item, check. I was choosing my projects based on them being useful objects as opposed to just things I wanted to knit for the heck of it. I did journal semi-regularly-ish, but I feel like that's a good start. And one of my goals is also to try one new recipe per week, especially focusing on gluten-free kind of recipes. I did try 5 new recipes in January. They were not necessarily one per week, but I figure it's a good average. All of them technically were gluten-free, but only 2 of them were actually like baked goods that were specifically gluten-free baked goods. One was a cornbread muffin recipe that was so good. Oh my gosh, loved that so much. The other one was for a clementine cake, which I really liked. Bill didn't love it. He wasn't super crazy about it, but I liked it a lot. So I will include links to those 2 recipes in the show notes. I did not write down what the other 3 recipes were, and I can't remember what they were off the top of my head, but they were also very good. They were more dinners. I think one of them was like a bowl, like a shrimp bowl kind of thing, rice. Yeah. Anyway. Design work, I did say that I wanted to make a preliminary list of what design stuff I wanted to work on this year in January. I did not actually make the list, but I feel like the fact that I did revisit several of my older designs with the thought of updating them is a good step in the right direction with my design work for this year. The one area of stuff that I really did not do much in January at all was I hardly cross-stitched. I think I cross-stitched a little bit at the beginning of the month and then haven't looked at it again. And I did not do any weaving. And spinning, I guess maybe I finished my Cality Countdown spinning. I can't remember if I finished that in January or the end of December. But, you know, actually, you can see the one skein sitting on the piano right there. I finally did soak them, so that's done. But yeah, I have not actively done any spinning, so hopefully I will get back to that in the coming month. But one thing that I did work on in January that I had not planned on working on was finishing up some long-standing whips. So there have been years where that was my big goal for January, was just to finish up whips, but that wasn't the case this year. But I just somehow managed to end up doing that. So I feel like that was good too. I still need to refine my list for February. I know we're into the 5th of like a very short month, but a short month. It's not very short. It's 2 days shorter than other months, 2 and 3 days. I don't know why we always feel like February is so short. It's not that much shorter. But anyway, I still need to like write down exactly what I would like to focus on this year and build on January. How was your January? I hope it was a good month for you. Let me know what you're working on, or how you feel like your first month of 2025 went, whether you're taking part in our make along or not. If you are taking part, I hope it went really well for you. The conversation is going strong in the Ravelry group, so if you are able to access Ravelry, please check that out and take part in that. Otherwise, you can use the hashtag, which is, I think it's FTW Adventure 25. I'll put it down here. I'm so bad at that. I don't know why I don't write it in my show notes. Anyway, so you can also follow along on Instagram if you would like to do that. So. Okay, so life stuff. January was really calm. Like I told you, I feel like January was a really calm month, and then February came in kicking like a really pissed off mule. Like, I don't know what we did to anger February already. Maybe it's just got some sort of complex because it's the short month and, you know, but yeah, just so many crazy, weird things going on. And I'm not going to really go into details about any of them because none of them are super horrible yet. I don't know. Hopefully they won't be. My mom's surgery, we still don't know what's going on there. So all of her tests, her pre-surgery tests turned out great. So there's no, problems there, but we still don't have a date for her surgery. So I don't know when I'm going to Florida. I'm just trying to play that by ear best I can. Meanwhile, I have a lot of work to get done in February as I'm trying to work ahead for whenever I do have to go to Florida. Let's see what else. Bill, my husband, he's been having shoulder issues for several months. Finally, his doctor sent him for an MRI earlier this week, and we heard back from that. He does have tears in things in his shoulder. So we don't know what that is going to mean. He has to get set up with an appointment with an orthopedic for that, and we have not heard back from them. So I don't know. Like, is that a surgery thing? I don't know. So stay tuned for that. And I too have some weird little physical health thing going on that just popped up out of the blue. And I don't know what it is. So I have a doctor's appointment Friday morning just to get that checked out. I'm not going to go into any details because you don't need to know them because I don't know what it is. But it's just like, this is what I mean. Like, January, cool, calm, collected, everything's okay. February, boom, let's just wreak havoc right off the bat. Hopefully February will get it out of its system sooner rather than later. Hey, this is Editing Lisa. I'm just jumping in here because as I've been editing this video, the sound and the video has been drifting further and further out of sync, and I don't know why. But at this point in the video, it's driving me absolutely bananas. So I just cut it off. And I'm just going to replace it with my wish for you to have a wonderful next week or two until we talk again. Please be kind to yourself. Please be kind to others. And remember, everything will eventually be okay. Just take time to breathe. I will see you again soon. Bye.